Your Star Wars fantasies have come to a reality because the next generation of warfare technology includes laser-based weapons on fighter jets, Nick. This is crazy.
It is.
This last weekend, we had the Air Force Association Air and Space Conference where they present all the new killing toys. So the military industrial complex comes and present all the new technology. And the Air Force General Hugh Carlisle came out and presented a very specific document. It's called the Air Force Future Operating Concept. And basically, this is an outline of the next 20 years of what the Air Force wants to do. How do they want to engage in warfare moving forward? And they have two main points where they're going to be based their research. One is laser-based weapons, laser-based cannons, and laser-guided missiles. And on the other hand, cyber attacks on the air to bring down other planes, to disable weapon system, to disable sensors, preventing the engaging of the fight. So we do see that at the same time, the industrial military complex, they want to create newer weapons, they want to sell more, but they want to move into a more sustainable way of fighting where laser, it just can rebuild itself, it can reload itself. Weapons, traditional weapons, they're disposable. Right. Once you use a missile, once you shot a bullet, you can recoup that. Energy-based, there's not that expense. So we see that the Air Force is looking forward into a new future. Crazy is the fifth generation warfare, that's what they call it, where we'll see a completely shift in how war is conducted on the air.
Well, really cool, but also extremely terrifying. Now, it might seem like brand new technology, but lasers we've been talking about for years. I want to say even up to 100 years. If you go back to the days of Tesla and Edison and Marconi and all these inventors, they were talking about this in the 20s. Tesla had his death rate in the 20s and the 30s. I mean, it's just being applied now, unfortunately, but at the same time, I don't know, I'm a little skeptical still. I mean, if you think about how technology has progressed, let's say since World War I till now, we've gotten much better at technology. We've really developed a lot of new things, but that necessarily hasn't been saving lives. It's actually been doing the opposite. It's allowed us to kill more people with less weapons. And this, you said it's renewable, so I can see us saving a lot of money. You put a laser one time, you don't have to pay for ammunition, you don't have to pay for bombs, all these things. So yeah, great. That money can be used for schools and food and roads and things that actually matter as opposed to just killing other people. But at the same time, though, it's scary because essentially what we're talking about, Jose, is lasers. And lasers have never been portrayed nicely in films. They just make me think of more people are going to die. Is that the case? Is it going to be better or worse? I don't know.
Actually, it's good that you look into things like that. This technology is here already. DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, has already created HELAT project. And HELAT project is this 150 plus kilowatt system that it's a laser. It's already installed on the USS Ponce Navy ship, and they've been testing it. So now in this conference, they had smaller versions of it, demo versions, that will be mounted on airplanes. And their goal eventually is to be so precise that we curve down the number of civilian casualties, and for that matter, personnel casualties as well, by developing more precise weapons. And here's the thing, they developing this whole new generation of smart weapons that a pilot from the cockpit can actually pre-program a missile in terms of the explosion that it's going to do, the time of explosion, if it's going to be on impact, if it's going to be after impact. So you can pre-program these weapons depending on the type of attack that you want to perform. Now, this could be just another PR selling point, a marketing point selling. We are trying to curve down civilian casualties. I'm very skeptical of the industrial military complex all the time.
Right,
but we are definitely moving into that direction where they're trying to curve down the number of casualties. And the interest is twofold. On one hand, let's spend more money, let's raise these bottom lines for all of these defense contractors. But on the other hand, it might be a level of humanity where say, well, how can we advance technology and at the same time try to limit the impact of warfare in the countries that get engaged? So that, to your question, that is where it stands.
Yeah, no, totally, and I get that. But the only reason I'm also skeptical is because drones apparently are supposed to also limit the amount of casualties that we see, and we see that that's not the case. I mean, yeah, we see less boots on the ground. You have somebody controlling it for a computer, but that doesn't mean we're not still dropping bombs indiscriminately on civilian areas or areas that we believe are not civilian areas, but they end up being civilian areas, and we end up killing a lot of people. So I'm a little bit skeptical of the whole, it'll be very surgical and precise and will save a lot of lives.
Yeah. I mean,
that's what they say, but it's still a laser, dude.
They've been trying to develop laser-guided missiles for a long time, and they are used right now in the military and how they conduct. This is the next generation, and what they're trying to do is create these very specific. But then the other aspect, which is very important for me at least, is the cyber component of this document. The idea that they do have to use cyber attacks to prevent whole fleets of aircraft from even engaging in combat, then avoiding combat altogether. So if that's the new perception where we can actually win by evading engaging in combat, by grounding a whole fleet, I'm all about that. You know, like if we can keep this on computers and keep people not dying when they're in combat, all for it. But we want to know your opinion. Share your thoughts below in the comment section, and if you haven't, please subscribe to the Leap TV 2.